must sit, yes. Mr. Commissioner, thank you. We are ready to proceed. The next witness is Mr. Sadi, Altu, A-L-T-U, Sadi, S-A-D-I-E, and he will testify about the EcoBank investment by the PIC.
These are your full names, Mr. Altu Sadi?
My full names for my ID book is Albertus Lotter Sadi. Sorry.
Sorry, I didn't hear.
Okay, my full names for my ID book is Albertus Lotter Sadi, but everybody calls me Altu.
You have a second name?
Yes, I do.
Can you repeat it for me, please?
It's Lotter is L-O-T-T-E-R.
Sadi.
Yeah. Yes.
Doesn't have an umlaut.
The Lotter does have an umlaut, yes.
Does. Okay. Do you have any objections to taking the prescribed oath?
No, I don't.
Do you swear the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. Mr. Sadi, is it correct that you approached me as evidence leader a while ago to come and testify before this Commission of Inquiry?
Yes, it is correct.
And I have requested you to prepare a written statement. Is that correct?
Yes, it is correct.
You have prepared a comprehensive statement, which we are very thankful, and which you deal with a lot of matters that unfortunately is not part of the terms of reference of this Commission, but again, thank you. It is helpful in other respects, and it will be placed on record at the Commission. But for the purposes of this Commission, we will briefly deal with some of the aspects of your statement, and if you can just please start off by telling the Commission who you are and read into the record 1 to 7 of your statement.
My name is Altu Sadi. I'm 48 years old. I'm a small business owner of a coffee distributor in Kenmare in Krugersdorp called Cafe Minucci. I hold a BCom degree from Stellenbosch and a BCom honors degree from UNISA. The facts contained in my statement is to the best of my knowledge and belief both true and correct. I've been asked to give evidence on the PIC investment in EcoBank and the multiple governance failures, including my whistleblower dismissal due to raising an accounting irregularity. I was employed by EcoBank as the CFO for cards and electronic banking from October 2012 to January 2017. I was on assignment to Corporate and Investment Bank from March 2016, reporting to the CFO of CIB, when I was dismissed for raising an accounting irregularity through the whistleblower process. I was employed at Standard Bank from January 2002 to September 2012 in various roles, from financial manager for the car division, the head of finance for the Barclaycard joint venture. I was also the finance director for business operations, personal business, banking, information technology. I also presented Standard Bank on the audit committee of BankServe. Before that, I also worked in various roles at Edcon from 1994 to 2001, and I started my career at ABSA from 1992 to 94.
Before we deal with the investment in EcoBank, EcoBank is not, as far as I know, a well-known entity. Can you just briefly tell the Commission what is EcoBank?
Yeah, Advocate Lube, can I just ask something before then, and then we can get in there? Just in terms of you, Mr. Sadi, what are you from Johannesburg or Cape Town?
At this point from Johannesburg, yes.
Born around Joburg or Cape Town?
I grew up in Venda, so yeah. Okay. And then I've been all around, so I've been in KwaZulu, I've been in Cape Town, and in Joburg, so I've well traveled, and a small part of my life was in Kenya.
Okay, in Kenya also? In Kenya, okay. And then you ended up working in Nigeria or in Togo, in Lome?
It was interesting. Normally, all the head office staff work in Togo. My boss that brought me through from to come and work at EcoBank was the previous MD of Barclaycard International, Mr. Barry Fergus. Now, he wanted to have the offices in Nairobi in Kenya. We were the only exception. So all the other group staff was either in Ghana or in Togo or in Nigeria. But the reasoning for that is that Nairobi in Kenya is a very vibrant market. You've got Visa, you've got MasterCard. It seemed to be the right place to put a card and electronic banking division.
Oh, I see. So when you were in Barclaycard, you were in Nairobi?
Sorry, I'm confusing you now. Barclaycard, just going back to the history, not a lot of people know that, but Barclaycard had a joint venture with Standard Bank before they invested into ABSA.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I was the head of finance for the joint venture with Barclaycard and Standard Bank.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you.
Can you just then tell us something about EcoBank?
Okay, EcoBank is, if you really, I can give you a little bit of background from their website. I don't know if you want me to read that into the record, or I can just, basically they started
We'd like to hear what you know personally about
Okay,
it.
can I talk about my personal view? They located in about 37 countries in Africa. They're the biggest single bank outside South Africa in Africa, or very close to, on assets and everything. So they've got a fantastic and amazing footprint. If you look at their, it's a very multicultural, it's really, I always tell people it was such an amazing experience because there was 37 different cultures. You never felt out of place because it's so multicultural. Very, very big bank. Was very, very aggressive and in growing. And then if you look at what they tried to do, they went through, so basically very, very strong in West Africa, Nigeria, Togo. Later on they started coming more into the SADC region. More in the north and west of Africa, some of the biggest and stronger banks, and that's where they started. But if you look at the more to SADC, EAC, those countries, they're struggling to build market share there, or they're quite smaller then. They're not at ideal size there, if you can say it like that.
Okay, you can then start at paragraph 8.
Okay, EcoBank Transnational, or ETI, is a transnational banking institution registered in Togo with headquarters in Lome, Togo. Doing business and having offices in over 77 countries around the world, including Nigeria. It's listed on the Nigeria Stock Exchange and its shares trade in Nigeria. It's also listed in Abidjan and Ghana as well. Sorry, I didn't add it in.
You can just go a bit slower, please.
Okay. In Nigeria, ETI operates a banking business by license under Banks and Other Financial Institutions Act 1991, Cat B3, Laws on the Federation of Nigeria 2004, by its subsidiary Nigeria Limited, EcoBank Nigeria. All earnings dividends from Nigeria have to repatriate from Nigeria to Togo. Two South African entities, Nedbank with a 21% shareholding, plus 2 board members, and the PIC.
21.2.
21.2, yeah. And PIC with a 13.5% shareholding and 1 board member, Mr. Daniel Machila, until recently, have significant shareholdings. Qatar National Bank, 20.1 shareholding and 2 board members, and IFC with 14.1% shareholding and 1 board member is the other two significant shareholders.
Just a question here. If you can remind us, I think Nedbank and the PIC invested in this business, and there was some issue somewhere where the shares went down. Can you just remind us what happened there? This is besides this statement. I know there was some event somewhere.
Mr. Commissioner, there is so many events that's affected EcoBank and governance failures and all those kind of things. If you look at what happened is, I mean, they got a new CEO at some stage, Mr. Thierry Tano. He found some wrongdoing. He had an Ernst & Young audit report. He took that to the chairman. The chairman then wanted to raise things. The chairman and the CEO was pushed out at some stage. The CFO was fired and reinstated. The SEC of Nigeria had, I think in 2012, they had a whole governance review and everything. So there's so many scandals. If you Google this organization is beset by governance scandals. So there's a lot of impact. So I can't really talk to anything specific around, but there's been huge issues around governance. And even if you look at their annual financial statements, the chairman and the CEO will talk to you about they're trying to improve governance. They know it's an issue for the market, and they're doing everything to improve governance.
We'll come to that in paragraph 16 of your statement. Sorry, can you just deal then with the investment into EcoBank by PIC?
Okay, the total investments into EcoBank by the PIC. PIC invested $250 million, buying 3.125 billion ordinary shares at 8 US cents each in April 2012. That was from the EcoBank 2012 annual report. And this was increased to 3.3 billion shares due to a bonus share issue in 2015. The PIC also granted a $98 million annual revolving loan with a 3-year term on 29 December 2016. That's also from the 2018 annual results. And then it also arranged...
Sorry, do we know whether that is being serviced?
My understanding is all of these have been serviced, and I know it gets a little bit technical, and they've done a Eurobond issue recently. Some of the covenants and things are not being, or they breached some of the covenants, but the PIC have given them leeway that they're okay with that. But my understanding is all these loans are being serviced. And then it also arranged a 250 million convertible bond and that's also in September 2017 and also from the 2018 results.
Before you proceed, Mr. Commissioner, can I just place on record that I have checked with the GEPF that there was in 2012 a mandate to invest 5% in Africa with a cap of 2 billion, and this investment of 250 million US at 3.125 at 8 US cents was just under the 2 billion cap. Is that also according to your calculations, Mr. Sadi?
If you look at the calculation that I did for April 2012 on point 11, you can see it came to about 1.935 billion using a 7.74 Rand exchange rate.
Thank you.
If you look at the market value of the PIC share investment, and I looked at this on the 22nd of May, when Advocate Leber asked me to come this week, and you compare it to the actual value of the share as it was traded on that day, the market value in US dollars basically reduced by nearly 2/3. So it's less than half what it was worth before. And if you look at the Rand value, it reduced by 700 million. So I'm not sure, I'm sure the PIC would be tracking this investment.
Thank you. Can you proceed with paragraph 12?
If we look at the Fitch ratings of EcoBank of ETI, it's rated as B, and that's highly speculative fundamental credit quality. If you read, it says B ratings denote weak prospects for ongoing viability. Material failure risk is present, but a limited margin of safety remains. The bank's capacity for continued unsupported operation is vulnerable to deterioration in the business and economic environment. So the question then becomes is, does the PIC mandate allow it to invest in highly speculative investments, or suitable alternatives, e.g. Stanbic IBTC with a AAA rating exists?
Thank you. We will ask them when they come here to talk about this investment.
If we then look at Stanbic IBTC, this is now Standard Bank's Africa banking venture. They rated at AAA, and that's the highest credit quality, and also listed in Nigeria. And that's the AAA ratings denote the lowest expectation of default risk. They are assigned only in cases of exceptionally strong capacity for payment of financial commitments. This capacity is highly unlikely to be adversely affected by foreseeable events. If you then also look at what the Financial Times website published the beta ratings for ETI, it's at 1.15, and Stanbic is 0.9385. And then it's quite interesting to read what does a beta actually mean. Beta is a measure of a stock's volatility in relation to the market. By definition, the market has a beta of 1, and individual stocks are ranked according to how much they deviate from the market. A stock that swings more than the market over time is a beta above 1. If a stock moves less than the market, the stock's beta is less than 1. High beta stocks are supposed to be riskier, but provide a potential for higher returns. Low beta stocks poses less risks, but also lower returns.
Thank you. You don't have to deal with the graphs. Okay. Can you proceed to paragraph 16 of your statement, please?
Daniel Machila acknowledged in a court case against the previous CEO that he should never invest in EcoBank, but then still invested 2 more times. It also seems that the CEO tried to improve the governance problems as evidenced by an Ernst & Young audit report. EcoBank has a history of dismissing staff for exposing wrongdoing.
Can you just stop there? What court case is this that you're referring to?
The previous CEO was dismissed, and there was, maybe that's what the commissioners refer to, where Mr. Machila made certain allegations. He wrote letters to the Financial Times. So what the previous CEO did is he took the PIC and Mr. Machila and EcoBank to court on two matters. The one was a libel case, and the other one was for unfair dismissal. Can we
just identify this? Is that Mr. Thierry Tano?
Thierry Tano, the previous CEO, yeah. So this case is the one that's been for the libel case. So if you look at you can go and read the whole case. It's actually been published on the EcoBank website. It also transpires from the minutes of the hearings of the parties arranged by the rapporteur judge that Mr. Daniel Machila did not contest that the Ernst & Young report, which the ETI Board of Directors has refused to present to court, revealed serious problems of corporate governance within the group, and that Mr. Daniel Machila declared and confirmed that if PIC, which he represents within ETI, had been aware of this fact, it would not have invested its capital into the group. It is also an established fact that a director of ETI resigned from his position as a director in order not to be held accountable for the poor governance observed in this company. All these facts give considerable credibility to the declarations of Mr. Tano to the effect that the letter of 1 March 2014 was written because he had brought the poor governance within ETI to light.
And what was the result of this court case, paragraph 17?
Okay, in the defamation case above, Daniel Machila and EcoBank was ordered to pay $15 million, and he was also awarded $11.6 million for wrongful dismissal.
Do we know who paid the $15 million? EcoBank, Dr. Machila, how was it paid? And do we have any details of that?
I Mr. Commissioner, Mr. Commissioner, the witness, I asked the witness about that. He cannot assist, but we are in the process of following this up at the PIC, and it will be reported to the Commission.
I then take it that the witness does not know, is unable to answer the question.
Pardon me, Mr. Commissioner?
No, do you mean that the witness is unable to answer this question?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And then just more governance failures at EcoBank. This is also, what I try to do is to take excerpts from published reports on the web. Mrs. Dorego, she was the previous CFO, accused Kulapa Lawson, the chairman, and Terry Tano, the new chief executive, of attempting to sell non-core assets at well below the market value. She alleges that she was asked to write off debts owed to the real estate company Mr. Lawson chairs and to manipulate the bank's 2012 results to improve those of 2013 when Mr. Tano was confirmed as CEO. All of these allegations, the bank spokesman Jeremy Reynolds denies. It was from the Financial Times, August 29, 2013. She was subsequently dismissed but reinstated after pressure from the SEC Nigeria. And again, the source is ETI Sextano appoints Essien as new group CEO, reinstate Dorego, and that's from proshare.com, March 11, 2014.
Sorry, can I just take you back to paragraph 17? You say in the defamation case above, Daniel Machila and EcoBank were ordered to pay 15 million, and he was also awarded 11.6 million. Who is that? Mr. Tano?
Yes, that's Mr. Terry Tano.
Thank you.
The previous chairman accused management led to my discovery unauthorized and illegal transactions bordering on securities fraud, share price manipulation, and illegal trading of ETI shares, all orchestrated by the then management of EcoBank Nigeria, acting under instructions of the executive management of the parent company ETI. The board of ETI was given false information in the effort to conceal these matters. These transactions have led to the drastic reduction and devaluation of ETI shares to the detriment of shareholders and investors. The source is who owns legacy shares of the $864 million write-off at EcoBank post-securities fraud. This matter was then settled out of court, and the chairman that was asked to step down was absolved of all wrongdoing. And then point 20, the Nigeria Securities and Exchange Commission has issued a scathing assessment of governance lapses at EcoBank Transnational and called for an extraordinary general meeting at the Pan-African lender. In a statement on Thursday, the SEC listed a string of failings, including the absence of a clear vision and strategy to drive the institution, conflicts of interest at the top, and a lack of transparency in pay procedures at the group, which is also known as ETI. It also listed among weaknesses the board's role in overseeing the achievement of ethical behavior. And the source there is a Nigerian watchdog slams EcoBank governance, William Wallace in London from the Financial Times.
The point I want to emphasize is, it appears from your statement that from April 2012 or May 2012, Dr. Machila was a non-executive director of the board of EcoBank. Is that correct?
That is correct. So,
and he was a director during all these turmoil and court cases and dismissal of people and reinstatement of people.
That is correct. So he was appointed to the board in 2012. And I think at the last, now in 2019, he has resigned from the board, obviously from not being at the PIC anymore.
And notwithstanding this turmoil and uncertainty at the bank, the PIC further assisted financially in 2016 and also in September 2017.
That is correct.
Can I just ask you, on occasion you refer to what I think would be reports in respect of the issues that you are dealing with here. I hope you have verified those, and because it may well be that the reports are incorrect.
Sure. I cannot tell you that I can personally absolutely verify. I can tell you all of these are published, and there is so many reports and actually press releases that support all of these things. There is so many people that can witness. We were in the organization. We saw the stuff that was happening. We saw the fights. We always thought, our opinion on the inside was we needed somebody like a Tano or somebody to come and actually resolve the situation, like a savior or something. So in the end, Tano and the chairman lost their jobs. Both of them won in the courts, and was vindicated for what they did. There's the Ernst & Young audit report I've actually given to Advocate Libber. It is available, it's a confidential report. I've got the signed letters from the chairman. I've got the letters that the actual chairman wrote. All of those things can be submitted as evidence. So yes, there is a lot of evidence supporting. It's just we didn't want to put too much into the submission, but all of it's there. If you want, we can actually give you the letters and the audit reports.
In your statement, you also deal with the remuneration of board members attending board meetings. Can you just tell us what was the remuneration for Dr. Machila?
If we look at page 7.25, it specifies the non-executive director compensation. If you look at Mr. Daniel Machila, the director fees was earned for $100,000 a year. His sitting allowances was $3,750. And then he also got a nice benefit, which he gets $20,000 for 2 first-class airline tickets. So that was the total. Again, I'm not aware if this is, my understanding is that in most big corporates, these sitting fees gets paid to the organization and not to the person.
Thank you.
Can we check and find out whether this was paid to the PIC or to Dr. Machila, and if it was paid into South African bank accounts?
We are already in the process of doing that. Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. Now, you deal in your statement with the governance failures at EcoBank, which is, as I've explained to you, is not really relevant. But what has happened is, just to get to the whistleblowing thing, you established certain accounting irregularities at EcoBank, and you reported this through the whistleblowing procedures of the bank in Nigeria. Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
It led to a retracted and long battle, and you were eventually found guilty and dismissed from EcoBank. Is that correct?
Yes, that's also correct.
Guilty of what?
Can I, Mr. Commissioner, the wording specifically was that I've made unsubstantiated allegations. So, I mean, you can have a very long debate about whistleblowing and what are you supposed to do and why big organizations do whistleblowing and why it is required. And the very interesting thing about whistleblowing is that they always say it must be in good faith, and you must reasonably believe. You can't just make stuff up or whatever. So what I found these irregularities. I actually reported internally, and if you understand the Protected Disclosure Act, the most protected disclosure that you can do is internal, because the point of the Protected Disclosure Act is to give the organization time to self-correct.
Okay, I wouldn't like to go.
Sorry.
I wouldn't like to go into all of that. I just wanted to know what were you found guilty of.
Okay. So it was for making unsubstantiated allegations.
You took that on appeal to the High Court? Is that right?
Sorry, can I just correct? So we did we made a case for unfair dismissal in Togo. My contract is based in Togo. And we won the case against EcoBank on the 7th of May this year.
And you were totally exonerated, is that correct?
We're still waiting for the final judgment to be delivered. But yeah, we won the case for unfair dismissal.
And I believe there is the chance that the EcoBank people will take this on appeal again.
They've already appealed the case, despite having all the whistleblower protection, asking you to do all these things.
Mr. Commissioner, that is the evidence of the witness on the EcoBank investment, and I have no further questions.
Just to check, in 10.3, the convertible loan, do you know any details about that in terms of how it converts and, the share prices, paragraph 10?
There is a lot of detail. I can send you that. I've done some from the Eurobank prospectus. I can read it into the record, or I can just submit it later as an additional affidavit.
Look, I mean, if we're gonna get some information, from the PIC, maybe it's not necessary. Advocate, look, yeah?
We will get that from the PIC, through you, Mr. Commissioner.
Yeah.
Perhaps, obviously, this is a case that we will be looking into further, and perhaps what we need to also know is how the investment authorizations took place into the PIC, whether Dr. Machila was appointed to the board by the PIC, and the approval process for the loans that were made and the investments that were made. So I'm assuming that that will be forthcoming in a further hearing.
Absolutely
Among other things.
correct through you, Mr. Commissioner. I've already been in discussions with the GEPF, and it will form part of their presentation to the Commission.
Thank you, but thanks for putting this on the table.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. We appreciate you making yourself available to come and give evidence. It's quite important evidence, and we are grateful for that. All right.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, and you're excused.
Thank you. Mr. Commissioner, this is the business for the day, and can we adjourn until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, or as soon thereafter as we are ready to proceed, as we have other engagements at 9, but hopefully that will be finalized before 10, and then we can start at 10 or as soon thereafter.
Just say between 10 and 10:30.
Thank you. That shall be so. Which means we adjourn until tomorrow morning at 10 or as soon thereafter as may be possible. Thank you.
Council. Oh, for today. Yeah. And I'll try. I dream about the Tilegabo to fight. And if it is Jose Gaboma, what, 6? After 6? It does, yeah. Yeah, no. There at least. Yeah.